Namaskar, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever in the world you are. This is Anand Rao from New Jersey. Folks, all you NRI folks, this is for you. Welcome to America. And in America today, we are going to talk about investing in India. Do you have an investment in India? Anywhere? Bangalore, Delhi, Calcutta, Bombay, Chennai, Ahmedabad? Have you bought a house? Have you bought land? Have you bought any property? Or have you purchased any financial products? If yes, or if you're planning on purchasing any of those, this is the show that you need to watch.
Like I said, it is once in a decade opportunity. It's a very good time they should look at doing some kind of a restructuring of their assets.
Are you a risk-averse investor or are you a risk-friendly investor? Do you know which is the hottest city to invest in? And what is different in this COVID-infected economy? Because we have an economist who's going to talk about some innovative tactics and strategies and solutions you can apply in managing your money better in India.
$100,000 is per family is what is lost to scams and fraudsters in India in last 70 years. If you see a loss in an investment, something is seriously wrong.
Welcome to America, and this is Anand Rao from the greater New York City area. So today I will be focusing in America on a very, very specific niche audience, that's the NRI audience, and that's the reason why I'm talking to you in English. So to talk to us today, we have an expert who earlier held some senior positions in organizations like HDFC and Carvey Consultants, and he has been continuously providing solutions for organizations and individuals, and he has come up with a product called FinMo or Financial Moksha, and another one called Mosakke Heli Goodbye, which essentially translates to say goodbye to fraud. So let's go straight to our guest via Zoom. Mr. Mohan Krishna Rao, all the way from Bangalore, has joined us via Zoom, and let's see what he's got to say. So we have with us today our investment expert from Bangalore, Mohan Krishna Rao. Hello Mohan, how are you?
Very fine. Thank you very much, Mr. Anand.
So how is Bangalore today? Are you staying safe? How's the lockdown working for you?
Fortunately for Karnataka and Bangalore, the numbers are in control compared to Maharashtra, Mumbai or Delhi. Now Gujarat is adding a lot of numbers, but fortunately we are blessed people here. Of course, there's been a strict lockdown and a lot of restrictions on the movement in Bangalore. But of course, the roads are looking really good and safe. Normally, Bangalore means, it is traffic wars and you don't see more than a meter of space also on the road.
Yeah, so that's good. So today we are here to discuss about the investment opportunities and how they are looking in India right now. And so as an expert, from your vantage viewpoint, what do you think Indians living in America need to be wary about in today's day and age? Because from what we have seen over the years, it's nothing new that Indians living in America make significant investments back home. Be it in real estate, they're buying homes or apartments in new developments. They are the most common examples we get to see. But what are the other areas you recommend NRIs need to pay attention to?
Yeah, what you said is very right, Anand, that we have been seeing is most of the time during be it Christmas holidays or any other vacation period, and people coming into Bangalore or to India from America, half of the time they spend with their relatives, maybe mother's, wife's side and husband's side. And half the time they're running around for investments or, doing some land registration, either buying or selling. So most of the investments are into real estate because the kind of marketing activity by these real estate developers is very huge in the NRI segments. That is where they see the money. What you asked is a very valid question. What other things are there? In fact, there are plenty of opportunities available for other than real estate also. Now, currently, if you see in the current situation, the biggest opportunities is in the financial investments. Basically, when you look at investments, you can say either financial investments or non-financial assets. So the real estate and agriculture or farm-based investments or high-tech farming, these are all the non-equity investments or non-financial assets, what we categorize as. Though there are opportunities in both the sides in the current situation. One, a big opportunity, I would say, because currently, if you see, because of the COVID effect, the markets are at almost 10-year low levels. It's in a decade low.
Mhm. That
And
was my
some of the
that was my next question. With the uncertainty around the economy brought about by COVID,
yeah,
now what has significantly changed about investing in India? Are there any specific hot areas, or you're getting a call, you want to go ahead and take it? I know you are a very busy economic advisor. Even in the middle of the night,
yeah,
people keep calling you.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, please tell us. Is there anything we need to watch out for in the wake of this new uncertainties brought about by COVID? But
In
what do you recommend?
in fact, for all those people who are sitting on cash, if they're already not invest in the markets, obviously those who are invested in the markets, they are seeing the negative capital. But
Hmm.
those who are sitting on cash or cash reserves, and those who are sitting on real estates also, this is a
Hmm.
very good time they should look at doing some kind of a restructuring of their assets,
Okay. Hmm.
because opportunities like this don't come quite often. Like I said, it is once in a decade opportunity.
Hmm.
So especially because they're huge multi-baggers, a
Hmm.
lot of times, you don't get this multi-bagger opportunity. It is across the segments. Whether you invest in equities, you get best of the companies at a 10-year low price at very cheap valuations. And also, if you look at other assets, there are many as products like alternative investment funds. There are structured products. Not many people are aware. Normally, the usual investment advisors do not advise beyond some unit linked insurance policies or beyond some mutual fund schemes or this portfolio management schemes or PMS schemes. Beyond that, they don't go further. And nowadays, though, in terms of investing in financial assets, there are a lot of restrictions for the American citizens because of the procedural difficulties for investing in India. So, opening a demat account for a US citizen, it's very tough in India. It takes more than 2 months, and there are a lot of restrictions on many products. So there are other routes which are through FPIs, through foreign portfolio investor funds. Through FPI route, if you invest, advantages, you have an option of investing in dollar denomination. And there are products which are basically meant for large institutional investors, which we have some of, we are associated with some of the FPIs, and we have some very interesting opportunities available under structured products. There's something called AIFs, Alternative Investment Funds, category 1, category 2, and 3, where underlying is completely different. Where you can combine two different, just like Lord Ganapati is a combination of human and elephant head and human form. Similarly, in a structured product, you mix an FD along with an option product and create a new product where it has the advantage of the FD. At the same time, it gives you higher returns like an option. The beauty is there are a lot of opportunities in these structures where it is under an AIF. The beauty is it is under US dollar denominations. There is everything underlying, right from the leveraged bond portfolio. When I say bond, the US listed bonds of Indian companies,
Okay.
which is offering anywhere between 6 to 7% risk-free returns
Okay.
in dollars.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is one side. Then there is also investment opportunity and unlisted equity.
Hmm.
The unlisted equity is something where a very promising company, maybe like a Paytm, there is an NSE, National Stock Exchange. These are all very old companies with established balance sheets and established market shares, which are going to get listed in next 1-2 years.
Okay.
So if you buy them now, that is another multi-bagger opportunities. So there is a lot of things in the private equity space. Nowadays, there are more structured products which are basing the underlying as a private equity holdings.
Okay.
So there are multiple options, including, you can put a digital real estate is another area.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of opportunities available. Of course, you need to be with somebody who can understand the complications of these products and the suitability of these products.
So you mean somebody like you, right? Because what you're saying is definitely not comprehensible for somebody who is not well versed in this. Coming to another question, very broad question I have is, what are the hottest states right now? Now, what you said, is it commonly available across all states in India, or are there any certain states that investors need to watch out for?
See, when you look at region-wise availability of the opportunities,
Hmm.
this is particularly non-financial assets. So, if you
Hmm.
are looking at a farming opportunity, of course,
Okay.
whenever you look at investment, you should always look at the return of investment and the time horizon of how long you are going to keep it there.
Hmm.
Especially if it's a farming, people don't invest just because you want to buy some 5 acres of land because it's available at 10 lakh per acre, but
Yeah.
you want to know what will you get out of that. If the maintenance cost is higher than your return, there is no point in buying it. But
Hmm.
there are people, that's interesting, one of my client who's a UK citizen, of course, settled in Bangalore now, and
Hmm.
he bought a 13-acre land somewhere near um, it's about 100 kilometers from Bangalore.
Hmm.
Now he was very keen and very passionate about doing a farming, and now today he produces. He started his mango and also mango plantation, and also the guava plantation, and he grows guavas, which is one guava is almost 1 kg, that size big.
Oh, wow.
Very high quality, organically grown, and he has a huge business proposition, because he was an expert in exports. Actually, he was from an oil energy sector. He worked as a
Okay.
CEO for one of the big companies. Now he knows where this is, the markets exist for these fruits,
Hmm.
high quality fruit. So what I'm saying is, if you have a right plan, and if you are looking at the what is your passion doing it, of course he is sitting here and doing it. Not everybody can do it, but what I'm saying is, there are non-financial assets like this, where you buy something, hand it over, but these are all very, very expensive. If you buy like a real estate based or a farmland or a industry, or you invest in some of the businesses, upcoming businesses, even in manufacturing. So there it is about the regional presence. If you talk about the best opportunity in financial, it is not about regions, it's about the country. When you
Hmm.
talk about, it's about the underlying. If you are investing in bonds, whether that is suitable to you, if you are investing in stocks, that is suitable to you, whether you are investing, that's about financial markets. That is region, it is not region specific.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
non-financial assets, you have to be very careful, especially if you invest in real estate, or if you invest in real estate based products.
Hmm.
So there it comes a question of due diligence, in terms of what is your requirement, ability to invest, the size of the capital, and the time you are ready to wait for it to grow, and the risks involved.
Okay, because from what I understand, real estate investment is one of the biggest investing motivations for people here, right? They want to invest in a maybe a retirement home, or maybe they want something for their parents, or for whatever reason, buying an apartment or buying a villa in the outskirts of the city still happens to be one of the most sought after avenues for investment for NRIs. Do you, as an investor, also come in and advise individuals who are probably looking at such short-term or long-term investments?
Absolutely, yes,
Hmm.
for sure. Because that's my profession basically.
Hmm.
What I do is I look at people's requirements and
Hmm.
what is available in the market. See, a lot of times what happens is, understanding the requirement is the key.
Hmm.
And it's not about products. Products are common to everybody. Like I talked about AIFs, I talked
Hmm.
about structured products, I talked about private equity, unlisted equity, and any things that you know, non-financial assets, be it high tech farming, be it
Hmm.
buying a land, or being it investing in the startup business, which can be
Hmm.
3x or 5x. There are a lot of opportunities available, but the question is, how do you see, guys, everybody is concerned about protecting the capital. Now when I handle a client, for me the sacrosanct, the most important thing for me is to make sure his capital is safe.
Yeah.
And we handle close to 300 families now in 4 metro cities. For the last 6 years, not a single client has lost even after the COVID. So the due diligence that we do in the product selection, matching the requirement of the client, is at such depth that we foresee a lot of things in future. So basically we try and understand the client as to what exactly he wants,
Mhm.
because what happens, it changes. No, you can't make an investment decision based on, unless you are very very sure, especially if you are getting into non-financial assets, real estate kind of a things. It can prove to be very costly if you make a mistake. So it's very important to understand, and we emphasize on ensuring capital protection, because money is very very important. It's a divine power. So
Yeah, one of the biggest concerns for investing in India, as somebody who lives outside of India myself, is about the protection of the investment, as you mentioned. So, what are the major risks? Now, if you can just give us a few examples from your experience, what would be the major risks NRI investors need to watch out for in today's world?
the point is that if you cannot protect the capital, there is no investment. Investment basically means that protection of the capital and over and above whatever you grow.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's a trading. In a trading, you can find loss, but in investment, you should never find a loss. If you see a loss in an investment, something is seriously wrong. It can be a misjudgment in terms of the time and in terms of requirement, but there can be no loss in an investment. Now, you talking about risk.
Hmm.
In fact, risk is across. In fact, that is something which we address every day in and day out, and we keep looking at what are the risks that are there, and risk management is the key in an investment advisory service. And how do you manage the risk, irrespective of whether the Indian risk or for NRIs is it risky, or is it for Indians it is risky, whichever country for that matter. In general, the best way to manage the risk is through asset allocation.
Hmm.
What we say is, you don't put all your money into one particular category of investment. Suppose if you take out, most of the people now, when clients come to us and when we do the detailed analysis of what they hold, their assets, 90% of the assets is in real estate.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that real estate is bad, but if I look at, recently I got an MD of a big IT services company sign up with me. When I looked at his net worth is around 30 crore. Out of that, his only physical real estate holding is about 26-27 crores. There is absolutely no cash. So what I'm saying is that is very, very risky according to me. Now, risk you can define from the perspective of the investments that you are doing in the environmental risks, the systemic risks, product specific risks, or asset specific risks. In fact, when you do a right asset allocation, when you put your money, don't put everything into real estate. Ideally, what we suggest a lot of our clients is should not be more than 60% on physical assets. Ideally, if your net worth is 20 crore, you should at least hold 8 crores in cash or financial investments, because cash is the king that gives you comfort. In a situation like this COVID, people like who are sitting on huge cash will take advantage of these markets. In
Hmm.
fact, in our client portfolio, we always maintain 30% of it in cash, and now it is a time where we will give higher exposure to equities. So how do you manage the risk? It is about doing the right asset allocation and understanding when you require money and when you don't require. And when you don't require, you are sure for next 3 years or 5 years, I don't require money. The way you invest and select the asset class is completely different. Now, end of the day, whether you invest in real estate or you invest in equity or you invest in debt market, wherever you invest, what is my objective is, I need to protect my capital and get more returns than otherwise what I would have got in a bank deposit, a risk-free return. So if you have to maximize that, in India, if you ask me specifically what risks exist today with the COVID situation, things are completely different. And with the COVID affecting every country for that matter, and India also, we do not know about the future. No expert can tell what will happen after 3 months or 6 months, because this kind of a stoppage of business activity we have never seen in the past. This is trodden territory kind of thing. We never have experienced such things in our lives, and many people who have never seen this, where the entire economy stops, and again when it restarts, when the factory starts producing, when the air travel starts, we don't know how much time it will take for the normalcy to return, and even when it returns, what changes will come. But for sure, things will come back to normalcy, and India, amongst all the countries, would definitely look to be the most shining star. That is something I can really feel proud also, that because two reasons. One is India is not dependent for its growth on other countries, because we have 130 crore population. The domestic market itself is huge. If you know the internet penetration in India, it is higher than the US. This is the
Yes.
second largest internet users in India, and everything is moving e-commerce today. The functioning of the whole country is doing only on Zoom and video platforms like what we're doing. And
Exactly.
because the amount of smartphone users in India, and the way e-commerce has changed our lives, and the amount of technology that ordinary people use, right from buying vegetables to everything, it makes a wonderful economy and a business for anybody to come and invest.
Wonderful.
So from that perspective, COVID actually makes India more powerful, and we are expecting. I'm particularly as an economist, in my view, I am looking at the world order will change in the next 5 to 10 years, and likely that India will be on top.
Yeah, that's what we get to hear. A lot of people are talking about that. Now, what is the state of the current economy now? How much has India taken a hit in terms of its economic standing, as opposed to, let's say at the beginning of the year to now?
Okay. So currently now the issue is about the panic and the current situation. Now
Mm-hmm.
there is lot of money in the market. If you
Mm-hmm.
see the last month alone, the equity mutual funds, the money flow into the mutual funds was one of the highest in the last 1 year. I'm
Okay.
talking about March,
Uh-huh.
which means people are very smart,
Mm-hmm.
especially the millennials. The Indian younger generation is very smart. They know market is down, they should invest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And coming to the economy was on the slowdown for the last 3 quarters, from Jan, Feb, March, and the previous 2 quarters from 5% it fell down to 4.5%. There was lot of signs of revival in terms of the number of auto sales numbers and all, and especially in January there was increase in manufacturing output also. But after COVID, it has taken a stop, and now it is a reworking of a lot of fundamental parameters.
Mm-hmm.
But there is tremendous amount of hope, because India has huge money and a huge market by domestic market itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment things become normal, and another great thing about India and Indians is we are very quick to adopt,
Uh-huh.
and and we call it jugad in Hindi.
Yes.
So we are very good at jugad. If nothing is available, we'll still manage to get out and go out and perform.
Yeah, we even go to Mars and maybe Jupiter if we have to. But one of the biggest issues I have personally faced is in the repatriation of funds from India. What is the best way to move money to the US for those looking to either get the rent here, or um, any other returns on investment from India if they have to kind of repatriate to their accounts here in the US? What is the best way to do that?
It's a very valid question what you asked, Anand. A lot of people ask me, not only here, and a lot of my clients have their friends and relatives in US, and they would have probably invested in different products, and they're all asking, they get rental income and all that. They file taxes in India for rupee income, and again they have to report it in the US in their taxation. There
Mm-hmm.
are multiple things, and when they take it back, the worst part is if you invest in rupee, and when you repatriate, you actually you lose a lot of value
Yeah.
because of the dollar, the rupee appreciation. You don't really make the good returns what you actually make in rupees.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know how many of them really actually take it back. Even if they take it back, let us say you get about in real estate, rentals is hardly about 0.4 to 0.5% of your asset value. If you get a crore of 1 crore worth apartment is hardly giving you 30,000 rupees rent. As such, what you are getting is very low. If you are taking it back to US, even then it is even low. So what I am talking about is, one is repatriation is possibility is very less. You have to be very careful when you select the product itself. When you invest in India, you have to look at products where you can invest in dollar itself. Like I was saying, dollar denomination products through FPI routes. There is another option. If you invest in India through through your NRO accounts or in your rupee bank account, and you invest in rupee, you anyway have to pay taxes in India for all your income that you get in India. Secondly, when you have to take it back, there is one interesting route called private trust. That is a legal possibility in India, where you create a private trust with one of your relatives in India and invest through the trust. You have to open all your investment accounts through the investment trust.
Okay.
And one of the person will be the trustee. So there are standard drafts for this. Lot of people we do it also. Some of the structured products you can't do it in normal rupee. Especially people want to repatriate, they want to take it back to the country. So it is possible to, if you do it through private trust. It also comes with the pros and cons. You need to see how suitable it is for a specific return and the risk adjusted return. Now, if you wait for 3 years and 5 years, one is, why are you invested? It should give returns. The base investment should give you good amount of returns. Then when you carry it back, if you are able to carry it back in the dollars, then it makes sense. If the base investment itself, like rental I am talking about, if this itself gives you 0.5%, and you are also only looking at appreciation of the asset value, maybe 1 crore apartment will become later 10 years 2 crores, but that is also a ruled out thing. Especially if you talk about real estate, the things are changing here in terms of what is likely to be the valuation upside in the real estate price. So there are a lot of unused inventories. There is a huge amount of problem in the real estate. In fact, in our own clients, there are over 27 properties which was not sold for last 2 years. They all want to sell it and convert it to financial assets.
Okay.
So the real estate has its own problems. And then again, two things are very important. One is, if you repatriate, you have this choice of doing a private trust, and we can help people who want. We can understand whether this is suitable for them and as per their requirement, and what legal procedures they can undergo, and what product they want to invest. Because all this is legal implication, so they need to know how to file it, how to answer the authorities in US as well as in India whenever the queries comes. Always, whenever innovative measures are always dealt with challenges.
Yeah. So as I was researching about you, there was a very interesting program that you have called Mosake Heli Goodbye, which is in Kannada. It translates to say goodbye to fraud. Can you talk to us about that? What is Mosake Heli Goodbye?
Mosa means cheating or fraud. It's Mosa in Kannada translate to cheating or a fraud. This is a project which is very close to my heart, Anand, because normally all our investment products, advisory, we do it for money. You do it for end of the day to build your business and do something good to exclusively people who are very rich. And if you see, this is a project that investment awareness about the different kinds of financial frauds. So today, I wrote a small book about 6 months back on Indian economy. It's called India's Splendid Journey. So I enlisted what all great things that has happened in India, a chronological sequence of events from 1947 to 2019 till Article 370, abrogation of Article 370. Later, after I wrote that, then I thought, what is not so good about India? Let me look at it. Because we have been working very strongly on protecting customers' capital, which means we need to make sure none of the investment products which we suggest, there should be no frauds in that. No, whether it is management related or it could be transaction related, we need to make sure that the advice that we give, we do the due diligence. While doing this, and I was looked at an idea of why don't I look at what is the total frauds and scams that has happened in India from the time India became independent, since independence. So I did a big research on this 1947 to till now 2020, 73 years. What is the total money that Indians have lost to scamsters and fraudsters? And according to my research, it turned out to be 200 trillion rupees.
Wow.
And for 120 crore population, it translates to 17 and a half lakhs per Indian has lost in the last 17 years. And a family of 4 people, it's about 70 lakhs. In dollar terms, $100,000 is per family is what is lost to scams and fraudsters in India in last 70 years. Imagine had this not happened. If we had not lost this money, today there would be no hunger, no poverty in India.
And this is for how many years?
This is, I'm talking about 70 years since independence.
70 years, okay.
Yeah. This
Wow.
I have taken the statistics as 1 out of 10 cases reported, frauds reported.
Yeah.
There's a detailed study. So what I thought is, let me not take this statistical theory and write a book, but let me do something for the society in terms of ensuring that at the end of the day, it's about people. If people are smarter than the fraudsters, then you don't lose money. Now, if each and every Indian is able to protect his family's money and he does not give money to fraudsters, then obviously we will become richer.
Right.
So it's all about people's movement. So Mosakke Heli Goodbye is a people's movement where we enumerated about 12 types of frauds, 12 different kinds of frauds. 8 of them where others cheat you, and 4 of them is where we cheat ourselves, self-cheating. So these all these details are available on mosakeheligoodbye.com. So anyone interested can go into this website. It's available in both English and Kannada version. But this is a campaign we did keeping in mind the Kannada population, for the people of Karnataka, as more like experimentation. And
Okay.
Suvarna News Kannada channel, they came and partnered with us, and we did about 12 different episodes. We have already completed 10. 2 more episodes to come in post-COVID lockdown, and 10 episodes are available on the website. You can go and discuss. There are like online and banking frauds and Ponzi schemes, how you lose money, these MLM schemes and all, where no investment would happen, but it is only just exchange of money. And then there are affinity frauds, religious belief-based kind of a frauds, and insurance-related frauds, stock market-related frauds, and all tax evasion frauds, black money related frauds. And eminent people have spoken about all these different topics on the Suvarna News channel, and all these episodes are there. People like Shri Ravishankar Guruji has spoken on one of the frauds, and also Police Commissioner, Bangalore Police Commissioner Mr. Bhaskar Rao has spoken about Ponzi schemes, and South Bangalore MP Tejasvi Surya has spoken, and Kannada activist Chakravarti Sulibide. A lot of people have spoken. Santosh Hegde of Lokayukta. A lot of people have spoken, and they have shared their opinion on this. And it is very interesting topic, and it's a must for everybody. And it is available at www.mosakeheligoodbye.com. And if
mosakeheligoodbye.com. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. And also, so your TV show, you're known as a TV expert. You're always on the various Kannada TV channels, talking about one issue or the other. But what is it that you're actually passionate about? Because when I hear you talk, there's a lot of service orientation to your work. It's not all about economics, and it's not all about investments and money and finances. There's a lot of service component as well. So you are your own CSR. So how did that evolve? Because that's quite unlike a regular financial advisor.
Basically, Anand, I was with HDFC Group before I left, and I started this venture called Wealth Vriddhi. The whole idea for me was to find something very, very meaningful for people, because when I was with HDFC as a regional head and selling multiple products, I was forced to sell whatever targets are there for me, and entire my teams used to sell. And I was not happy with that. I wanted to come back and do something meaningful where I feel proud about giving it and making difference in people's lives. And finance, and I was also a teaching faculty in VTU. I was teaching business economics and financial accounting, and that's where I found finance is something it should be all these best principles in the textbook should be applied in life. That is where I created the Spinmo, and the guiding force for all this comes from my guru is Kautilya's Arthashastra, the Chanakya, what we call popularly. And there is a two-liner of Arthashastra, the two-liner economics. That is, he says, Sukhasya moolam dharmaha, dharmasya moolam arthaha. To be happy, you need to follow dharma, means righteousness. But to follow righteousness, you need to be wealthy. If you don't have money, you will do crime to get money. If you have enough, then you become a good man. So earn well in the right means is the what it says. So it's very, very important. That is my guiding force. And actually, with the kind of expertise, if I manage at least about 8 or 10 family offices to take care of my family and manage my wealth management, just 3-4 family offices like Nandan Nilakani, or like there are plenty of people here in Bangalore and in India. 3-4 accounts of 100 crores each, it is more than enough. But my focus is not these very rich, the affluent class, which are, billionaires, but I am looking at people who need, finance management, the family finance. The lot of time, things are changing. Every rule of the game in every field is changing. The way we talk to our kids 10 years back, we don't do the same thing now. The way we learn mathematics, we don't learn it the way now. And the way things are changing. Similarly, the finance is also changing. In the stock markets are changing. The investments, basic rules are changing. So it's very difficult if someone is not in line with in control of his finances. He may have great money, but he still be worrying. A lot of people who are sitting on big amount of cash, but they're not happy.
Yeah.
Because they're not, there is some gap somewhere that they don't know what they have. And they don't know what they're sitting on. There is no need to actually fret over anything.
Yeah.
So what I thought is I should do something really interesting. And that is where I come out with Finmo called Financial Moksha. Financial Moksha is all about a status where you keep on getting cash flow for whatever you want to do in life, but you don't have a compulsion to work. About 30 to 40 families, they're getting almost 1.5 to 2 lakhs every month in India amongst our clients from last 4 years.
So now, I'm sure there are a lot of questions our viewers would like to ask you. Now, if they were to reach to you, which is the best email address to write to you?
Yeah, they can connect to me on mohan@wealthvriddhi.com. They can contact with me directly.
Mohan
as well as
wealthvriddhi.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also they can download. There is an app available on iOS and Android. It is only on invitation basis. So they can download Financial Moksha app on the iOS, or they can download Finmo on an Android Google Play Store, and they can ask for a request invite, and someone will get in touch with them, understand them, and then provide the user ID credentials, login credentials, and they will get to know more about what we do. And if anyone has specific questions, they can get in touch with me on this email ID, and I can look into see whatever help I can do.
So Mohan Krishna Rao, it was a pleasure chatting with you, and this is the first Namerica interview that we have done it in 100% English, because Namerica is mostly a Kannada channel, but we thought we would reach out to our larger Indian audience, our non-Kannada speaking for folks as well, because this is very important information that all NRIs, anybody living in anywhere in the world looking to invest in India, this is great information, and this would be a great introduction. But for exclusively our Kannada speaking audience, is there any message you would like to give in Kannada?
Khandita. I was waiting when you're going to open up this and ask me to speak in Kannada. Well, I was thinking, ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡು I was ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, because ಕನ್ನಡ ನನಗೆ in BSc ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ನಂದು ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ನಾನು ಯಾವತ್ತು ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಕನ್ನಡನೇ ಯೂಸ್, ಬಹಳ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪ್ರೇಮಿ ನಾನು. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಜೀವನ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್, ಲೈಫ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕೀ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್. ಸಂತೋಷವಾಗಿರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಬೇಡ, ಆದ್ರೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬಹಳ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಇರಬೇಕು. ದ ಮೋರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮನಿ, ದುಡ್ಡು ಇದ್ದಷ್ಟು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಬಹಳ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಟೂಲ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಡಿವೈನ್ ಪವರ್ ಅಂತೀನಿ ನಾನು ದುಡ್ಡಿಗೆ. ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್, ಕೆಲವರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಯ್ಯೋ ದುಡ್ಡು ಯಾಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ, ಎಷ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಂತ ಒಂಥರ. ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟ್ರೂ. ಮನಿ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್. ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ನೌ ಆನ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಗ್ರೋ ಯುವರ್ ಮನಿ ಮಚ್ ಮೋರ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ದುಡ್ಡು ಯಾವಾಗ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಿಲಿಯನರ್ಸ್ ಮಿಲಿಯನರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ, ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಮೇಡ್ ಮನಿ ಇನ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ವೇಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ಹೆಲ್ಪಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ದುಡ್ಡು ಇರಬೇಕು, ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಇನ್ನು ಮತ್ತಷ್ಟು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗ, ಆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ದುಡ್ಡಿನ ನೀವು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅದರ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಅಂಡ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ, PM ಕೇರ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ, ಊಟ ಇಲ್ದೇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಡೂ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಮನಿ. ಅಂಡ್ if you can grow your money much more, you can help lot more people. So don't ignore ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ನ ಇಗ್ನೋರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಏನ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಇರೋರಿಗೆ ಬೆಳೆಸೋದಕ್ಕಾಗೋದು. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಆರ್ ಸಿಟಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಅ 10 crore assets, imagine ಬರೀ 10% ಬೆಳೆಸಿದ್ರು you are adding 1 crore every year. But if you don't look at it and 3-4% ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, if you don't even look at it what is happening to the value, lot of times we are missing opportunity to do big things in life. Namaskaras to all and thanks a lot for calling me and taking this interview. It's a great opportunity for me. ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೆರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಬಹಳ ಬಹಳ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, everybody. We are going to have all the details listed here, and you can reach out to Mohan Krishna Rao as and when you would like to with your questions, and maybe we can bring him back for if there is enough demand for it. So, thank you very much, Mohan. It was great to talk to you, and I hope to see you soon, either when you visit us or when I visit you again there.
Sure, definitely. Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you.
ಅಮೆರಿಕ ವಿಶೇಷ ವಾಹಿನಿ ಫೇಸ್ಬುಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ.